Following the Separatist takeover of the world of Onderon, several civilian elements banded together to form a rebel faction that operated from the woods, carrying out striking attacks against Onderanian military facilities supported by Separatist units. After months of an ongoing guerrilla conflict, these rebels reached out to the Republic for assistance. Not wanting to send a large military force to liberate Onderon, seeing as the Civil War was more of an internal matter, the Republic opted to instead send a small Jedi strike force consisting of Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Commander Rex to educate the rebels on guerrilla warfare tactics and supply them with the equipment they would need to liberate their planet. After making contact with the rebel cell, the Republic Advisors begin training rebel forces on how to utilize key pieces of military equipment to the best of their ability to effectively neutralize droid forces. However, the arrival of this Jedi aid group tipped off local Separatist leaders to the location of the rebels. Using the coordinates that the Jedi ship had passed by to drop off the aid team, the Separatists were able to pinpoint the location of the rebels' secret base hidden deep within the jungle. With a vague idea of where the rebel base was, the Separatists deployed scouting units, most notably probe droids, to locate the specific instances of rebel activity and prepare for a larger assault. The probe droids were ultimately able to pin down the specific location of the rebel encampment and report back. This allowed Separatist commanders to dispatch a small strike force to eliminate this rebel encampment and hopefully end the ongoing rebellion on Onderon. In the coming battle, the objectives of rebel forces would simply be to repel the Separatist attack long enough for their forces to flee into the woods and once again disappear. On the flip side, the Separatists hoped to wipe out this rebel element on Onderon and capture rebel leaders to persuade other members of the civilian population away from mounting their own rebellions. In the midst of an ongoing training session where rebel forces were practicing their aim, the battle droids began emerging from the nearby jungles. When it was realized by rebel forces that they were under an attack by Separatist troops, they took cover in two separate groups scattered around the center of their encampment. They quickly began exchanging small arms fire with the advancing battle droids, which was ultimately easy enough for the rebel forces to dispatch. After all, they had months of experience engaging in minor guerrilla warfare actions against these same battle droids. However, the droids continued to come, arriving in large numbers. On top of that, the droids had brought behind them some elements of heavy armor. A single armored assault tank was leading up the rear of the droid formation. As the droid infantry forces at the front of their formation were slowly whittled down by the rebel defenders, the armor was brought up through the middle to begin engaging the entrenched rebel troops. Immediately realizing the threat this tank posed, the Jedi Advisors advised the rebel forces to withdraw from the engagement. However, the stubborn rebel forces hopped up on the training they had received from the Republic Advisors, opted instead to stay and fight. Using a tactic that had been taught to them by Jedi leadership, a pair of rebels broke off from the main group and carried out a quick frontal assault against the tank itself. Using their speed to dodge incoming blaster fire, they were able to mount the tank and deploy thermal detonators into both the pilot's hatch and commander's hatch of the vehicle. This destroyed the tank. With the destruction of the AAT and the elimination of the remaining battle droids that had been carrying out the assault, this battle ultimately ended in a rebel victory, but one that came at some interesting costs. Now that the Separatists had engaged the rebel forces in their headquarters, they were forced to relocate. The Separatist command would now be aware of where the rebel forces were operating from and could send larger and larger droid forces. As a result, the rebels had to pack up everything they could and abandoned their existing base camp, fleeing deeper into the jungle before formulating a new plan. This plan would later involve infiltrating the capital city of Isis and carrying out a sustained military campaign there. This battle ultimately marked the first involvement of Republic advisors in the ongoing civil war on Onderon that had been raging since the early days of the Clone Wars, and it would mark the beginning of the end of this civil war, as the Republic's involvement would ultimately lead to the liberation of Onderon. Still, this positioned the rebels to carry out deeper strikes against the Onderonian royalty, which was supported by the Separatists. If you'd like to learn more about how Onderon fell to the Separatists, I'll leave a link in the upper right-hand corner to my video on the start of the Onderonian Civil War and what led to this ongoing conflict. And if you have any other battles you'd like to see covered in future episodes of Battle Analysis and added to the archive, you can let me know down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.